Hi everyone, welcome to FinTech Academy. This is Harsh. Today I want to show you the overview of T1 General Form, which is used for filing personal taxes in Canada using ProFile. Alright, so let's get started with that. Right guys, so I'm right over here in ProFile, as you can see on the top left, and let's create a new taxpayer file by which we'll be going through the steps that how do we do the T1 general and how does it look when we complete that. So to do the new file, we click on the file on the top, and that the first option is new, and within that there is the first line, which is a option that is for 2020, and it says over here T1. So I'm going to click on that like this, and we'll be able to see that yes, we are in the 2020 personal information section here. Now this is not the form. The form is the one which is the second tab, that is T1 over here. Okay, so this is the income tax and benefit return form right over here. But because I use ProFile, and right over here in ProFile it is that we should provide the information over here of the taxpayer, their personal information, their marital status, residency. If you go a little bit down, there is filing, and then finally it will ask for spousal information. Whatever I mentioned over here is going to be automatically transformed to this T1 form, which is in this section, starting with the step 1, that is identification and other information. Now if someone is watching this video directly, I do have one more video which explains all these steps, what is the purpose of that and how it is. So like step 1 to step 7, everything is explained in that video tutorial. I would encourage that you watch that video tutorial first, so that this module or this training session makes better sense for you. All right, so I'm going to go to info tab over here. I'm going to type in a SIN number over here, and I can put in dummy SIN over here as of now. But of course, when you're doing the taxpayers information, when you're preparing one, then you should definitely put in the correct part or the correct information. All right, so title, the name, Mr., Miss, whatever it is, we put that. Let's say the first name, whatever the name is that we should mention over here. I'm just going to say training client, for example. Okay, and the ones which are in yellows are the ones which are mandatory, so I'm just going to touch those. Let's say we will be mentioning the address. I'm just going to mention 100 Training Lane. Whatever city that you want to mention, I'm going to mention Mississauga, Ontario, and whatever postal code is of your province, that's what you put over here. Put in the phone number, of course, of the taxpayer, and then you put in their date of birth of whichever date of birth it is, right? So automatically ProFile is going to tell us what is their age, CRA, online email. If they already register, you click on that. If they are yes, no, if you say no, you can provide the email address. I'm just going to click on already registered because most of them are. Do you want to prepare to get electronic notice of assessment? So if you wish to have ENOA, that's what you put a yes or no. So we all know that at the end of the filing has been completed, CR is going to send out NOA, which is notice of assessment. If you want to get E, then you can say yes to that over here like that. Okay, so that is the portion that is mandatory for the taxpayer personal information. I have only touched the ones which are in yellow. Over here, marital status, this individual is, let's say, assuming it's single, so I'm not going to touch that. Residency is good, they're in Ontario. And then this is the yellow one. Did you dispose of a property or properties in 2020 for which you are claiming a principal residence exemption, yes or no? Of course, a very big topic, principal residence exemption, right? For this example, I'm just going to say no, but of course, when we teach the income tax T1, we have a dedicated course on that. We cover in more detail that what is principal residence exemption, and if there are any amounts on that, how will it show in connection with your schedule 3 and all this stuff. So for now, let's say we say that this individual taxpayer did not dispose of any of the properties. I'm going to go down a little bit further, and we'll be able to see now we are in the e-filing section, right? Or filing section. Did the taxpayer electronic electronically sign the T183. I'm going to say yes to that as well. There is a small little explanation on that, what it is. On the other side, are you a Canadian citizen? Yes, no, whatever is the option, you select that. Did you want the register to be elections to be updated? We want to say yes to that. Did the taxpayer own specified foreign property at any time in 2020 with a total cost of more than 100,000 Canadian dollars? So this is again a very, very important question to answer, right? Because it's about the foreign property, if the taxpayer hold or had any during the 2020 period. So if they did have, then you're supposed to say yes, and if you do say yes, then there's a form which mentions right over there, which is T1135, right? That's what you're supposed to file in for this taxpayer. I'm going to say no over here to make it easy and simple. Again, you know, in the income tax course, we do explain that what is a T1135, the form on there. Is the taxpayer's income zero? No, so I'm not going to touch that. On the other side, we have authorization for the preparer to be contacted by the CRA to request supporting documents for pre-assessment or any of the other post-assessment reviews. So, you know, how do you want them to be contacted? Yes, no. So you can say the preparer should be contacted. If someone says no to that, then, you know, it's going to say, okay, well, in that case, method of contact for pre-assessment and post-assessment, should it be to the preparer or should it be to the client? Because I said no, it's of course no to the preparer, then it will be to the client. But if I say yes over here, then yes, I should be mentioning that contact the preparer like this. So if you are the tax preparer by yourself or your own tax return, of course you want to say that yes, contact the preparer. If you are a consultant, or if you are doing the professional tax practices, then it's up to you to decide whether you want the CRA to contact you, or did you want it to be sent to the client. All right, so those are the ones. The yellows are all filled. I'm going to go a little bit further down to see if there is anything more that is yellow. This individual is single, so there is no question of going through and mentioning anything about the spousal information. That's it. Nice and easy, simple. So we did provide information in the info tab. Remember, this is Profile's way of collecting information. I'm going to go to the T1 over here, and you will be able to see that our step 1, which is identification and other information of the form, is ready. So identification has the name, the first, last, the address over here, which is popping up. Also on the other side, the SIN is there, the date of birth is there, and the language correspondence is already updated. If we go further down, we have the details that we have mentioned, that this individual is single, like this over here. It's also going to show us the province, right, to which they're connected. If I go further down, then the questions to our answers about Elections Canada, we mentioned over here. And then if we go further down about the foreign property that we have answered, that is also mentioned over here. So basically all the stuff that we put in the info tab, which is the one over here, right, has automatically transpired in the step 1, which is identification and other information of the part 1 in the T1 general form. Right, so now that we know that that is the step 1, right, we'll go down over here to have a look on the step 2. So step 2 is the one for total income. That's what is going to show over here. And we can see over here that we can start reporting the income of the taxpayer over here. The first one, line 10, 100, is for the T4 slips. If your taxpayer has any, then you can put them over here. Of course, not directly touching the amount over here, but on the top, if you see, there is a tab number 3 that shows T4, and on the extreme right, it is mentioned over here that this is a T4 slip. So we need to provide the details over here, and once we do that, it's going to come and set automatically in the respective boxes. Like, you know, the amount is going to show on line 10, 100, and other boxes of CPP, EI, and taxes. Well, in the same way, way, if you have any of these boxes related, so for example, if someone says I'm doing the filing for the senior, there is the T4A OAS. Well, either you can double click on this number like this, or you can type in over here, like, you click on the plus over here and you say T4A OAS like this and double click on that, and there you go. That's going to pop up a slip over here. As soon as you put in the numbers, you will see that it's going to go and sit over here. Same way, anything else that you have, T4AP, one more plus over here on the top, T4AP, which is for the pension, that you can pick it up, and then you mention that over here. So I'm going to make a separate video tutorial with showing all those details, because that is a lot of information. But basically all your income will show up over here. That is starting from line 10,100 and going down till line 15,000. That is going to be your total income that will show up, right? As I mentioned during the previous tutorial as well, the rental income, for example, will show here, business income will show here. So any kind of income that has been generated by this taxpayer will be shown and reported over here. Once you are ready with that, then you go to step number 3, because you have your total income on line 15,000. You come to the step 3, which is your net income, and to find that, these are all your deductions which will start kicking in. For example, you have the line 2700. I have also the other lines related to that, which is showing up. If you go down a little bit on the bottom, there will be, let's say, childcare expenses, which is going to take away the income as well. If there is any kind of moving expenses, you can even claim that, and a bunch of other like support payments made and all those stuff, right? That's going to get you to the net income, which is the line 23,600. Once you know the line 23,600, you go a little bit down, which is going to get us the important milestone, which is taxable income, which is line 26,000. After any of these other deductions, which if applicable to the taxpayer, you put them in. Once we know the line 26,000, so the step 5 will kick in, which is the federal tax. Tax will be calculated automatically by ProFile for us. I mean, if you're using any other software, I'm pretty sure the software will do automatic calculation for you depending on the tax brackets which is applicable to the taxpayer. So it will be 15%, 20.5, 26, and further going above. And these are the tax bracket which show on the top over here, right? So the tax amount is going to be calculated for us. And then comes the non-refundable tax credit, which is a very important part. You can already see that 13,229 is right over here, because that is the non-refundable tax credit, BPA, which is also called basic personal amount. And then a bunch of credits, whatever is applicable to the taxpayer, that you can provide over here. Like for example, if there is someone with an age amount who is born before that date, then yes, you can mention that. There could be other credits like spouse or common law partner amount for eligible dependent, and a bunch of those which are shown over here. Now when we go through the income tax course, of course we explain all these credits, so you get a better understanding on that part. For this video tutorial, I'm going to go through and explain that how the credits will accumulate or can accumulate. So if you go down, depending on the taxpayer what they have it, you might have CPP-EI will kick in automatically, then CEA, which is called Canada Employment Amount, that will kick in automatically, which is an amount of 1245. As soon as you put in the T4 amount, this guy will also come in. It does not come otherwise. So there are certain rules on which that these amounts get applicable, but if you're using a software, then you don't have to worry a whole lot about any of those, because that'll be taken care by the software. So further, if we go down, then you will be able to see still on the non-refundable tax credit, which is the step number 5. We can see there could be home buyer's credit, there could be disability amount if there is one for self or transfer from a dependent. There could be interest paid on student loan, there could be tuition, education and textbook amounts, and there could be amounts transferred from a child for the tuition. There could be medical expenses that can be claimed. But basically, as I explained in the previous video, that hey, you get 15% of whatever your non-refundable credits that you have over here. So for example, we have 13,229 and we are going to get this much amount of credit, which is 1984 and change over here. There is one special credit just below that, which is donation schedule 9. For that sits after that, because you can get a little bit higher credit apart from 15% on that, and that's why it's after that particular line. 33,800, that's this one is a special 34,900, and then at line 35,000 we come to know how much is the total non-refundable tax credits. That is what is going to show further down after the tax amount, which will show over here. Okay, and then below that you will be able to see 1984.35, which is your non-refundable tax credit, and that will pull up your federal tax over here on line 4600. If we go further down, then after a couple of few more things that we see, we'll come to line 42,000, and that is your net federal tax. That completes your step number 5, and then we come to step number 6, which is provincial or territorial tax. Now in this, there is a tax calculation for the provincial part, which is 428 and 479 forms. So the one which is in the pink over here, provincial or territorial, attached form 428. Either you can double click on this over here on line 40 to 800 like this, and it's going to take you to that Ontario 428, as I'm showing you for the Ontario province, right? And this is the part of that. Of course, we go through the Ontario form as well in the course that we cover, which is divided in part A, B, and C, and it has its own tax, taxable on the taxable income. It has its own non-refundable tax credits, and it also has how do you get the tax reduction kicking in. So all those stuff is part of Ontario 428 over here. Now the connecting to that, if you go a little bit down, then you will be able to see there's another pink line, which is provincial or territorial credits, and that is on the Ontario 479, which is another form that we click on, and we will be able to see on the top right there is Ontario 479. That's Ontario credits, which can be or may be applicable to the taxpayer. So these two are related to that part, which is a provincial or territorial tax. Of course, the tax part is Ontario 428. The credit is going to be shown in the step number 7, which is refund or balance owing. Whatever is the situation of the taxpayer, you will be able to see over here. So basically, refunds could kick in. For example, as we see, climate action incentive is already showing for the taxpayer, which is $300 automatically calculated on line 45110. Then you have the CWB, if there is applicable for someone, then yes, that will also be shown. There are rules about that, but when we go through the course, of course, we explain what the rules are there and how ProFile will do the calculation and let us know. So there are a bunch of credits over here, which are many of them are refundable credits. If you guys remember, when I did the session 1, there are 2 types of credits. One is non-refundable and one is refundable. Well, refundable is the one that can help you get a refund, which we can see over here. It's only for climate action incentive. Now if you go a little bit up, then we do have a non-refundable credit, which is 1984.35, but as I explained earlier, they don't get you a refund. They can help you or get your tax down, but you cannot get a refund on that, and that's the reason they're not showing anywhere over here. So guys, that's what the form is from step 1 to step 7. Finally, if there's a refund or balance owing, that will be shown over here, and of course the little bit completion of signature and all the stuff on the bottom, and that's it. That will complete your tax return for the T1 at the personal level. Of course, I just went to the overview over here of the form. There are lots of schedules, there are lots of slips that are associated, forms that are associated. Canadian income tax at personal level is huge. There are lots of things which get involved in that. As and when possible, I will try to add a few more things about the income tax T1 so that you guys get a benefit of that. Alright guys, so hopefully you found this video helpful, and if you did, please like our video and subscribe to our channel for more videos. Also let me know in comments what would you like to see in future videos, i.e. Harsh, I want to see this video, or Harsh, can you make a video on this topic for accounting and bookkeeping, QuickBooks Desktop, QuickBooks Online, Excel, Canadian Income Tax T1, Canadian Income Tax T2, or Canadian Payroll. Alternatively, you can also visit us at fintechsolutions.ca for our courses. Thanks for watching.